Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Sports Talk with me, Ricardo. What's going on, man? I hope you're having a blessed day. I'm outside. I'm at my son's football practice. So of course I said, let me jump on here and chat with you guys a little bit, man. I feel sorry for it was breaking news for a lot of Indiana Pacers fans. You're not gonna like this, but the Pacers they had an opportunity to be NBA champion this year with the help of Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halburton, or the entire supporting cast. I know the referees the referees in the league didn't like they wanted SGA to win the championship. Of course, this is what it was, but I think that going to Game 7, if Tyrese Halburton didn't get hurt, it would have been a different story, man. Looking at it, you see all these guys are wearing the low top sneakers, man. I don't know since when that became the I think that the last player to put on the low top sneakers was Steve Nash. Steve Nash plays soccer, of course. He came in with the low top sneakers, and everybody else followed the trend. And then when you look at it, right, we're not even in the NFL. Where I play football. Even though you see players with the low top or the high top sneakers, they wrap them up to protect their Achilles. And the NBA, you don't do that, right? You don't do that stuff. So your Achilles is that thing is exposed. So when you're doing the cuts, the players right now are more advanced. The moves are more, they're better, faster. Speed, of course. The game. The speed of the game is something that we can't even talk about. Or we can't even fathom that. Like how you will have to understand sports. You will have to not just understand sport. I'm sorry for saying that. You will have to be blind to not able to see the transition and the difference between the 80s basketball, the 90s basketball, even the early 2000s. You saw players like Grant Hill coming in as two guard. He was fast and very athletic and able to attack the paint. And I think that player like that, we haven't seen that transition until today. You've seen all the players, anybody, which is I would tell my cousin and everybody else. We're gonna go back to Tyrese Halburton real quick, but I'm just saying, and the speed of the game, the players today, a lot different. Comparing the game today, comparing those players to the 80s, 90s basketball. You see Allen Iverson, super fast, speed. You see, all those guys. You didn't have that much players. Like I said, like the moves Jordan were doing back then, the move that all those guys were doing. Yes, back then it was, it was like, wow. It was a lot of wow factor because, we haven't seen them before. We never seen those moves before. But now, this is the norm. When Allen Iverson coming in with those crossovers, those moves, they were considered to be traveling because the league didn't adapt. They didn't catch up yet, right? They didn't catch up yet. A lot of the Euro steps, right? In Europe, when you go to Europe and to watch players play basketball, and then to come in to the U.S. watching playing basketball, it was night and day. It was a big difference because those moves weren't adapted yet to the NBA, and then the players who were doing it, the league didn't know what they were doing, and then the league had to send coaches overseas, right, for training, and also they would take coaches from overseas to come in here to train the referees over here to understand, oh, this is the norm. Oh, this is the new wave. This is the new wave, man. So so it is something that so those moves, it expose all those moves in terms of physicality as well too, expose your Achilles. When you look at it, you jumping, you doing all the stuff, you cutting. It's not the same as back then when you could do one move and that's it. Back right now you're doing several moves and then the impact, because the biggest guys back then, you look at Karl Malone. Karl Malone was what, 230, right? 230. Yeah, he looked big, where he was 230. And by the way, since we in Karl Malone real quick, he finally accepts his son. His son played for the Buffalo Bills. Karl Malone was 22. He had sexual relation with a 13-year-old girl and had a baby. You know what I mean? Karl Malone was 22 years old, going on 23 years old. Had a sexual relationship with a little girl with a 13-year. Well, she just turned 12. They had a relationship since she was 12 years old. At 13, she got pregnant. And I'm surprised David Stern paid a lot of cops. Once again, David Stern paid a lot of cops. When you're talking about in terms of having cops in your pocket, David Stern had a lot of cops in his pocket. So a lot of cops. And when you look at the amount of cops he had in his pocket, he was able to shield Michael Jordan from a lot of scrutiny, gambling, bets on games. Yes, Michael Jordan, David Stern had a lot of cops on his payroll. I know it's a shock to a lot of people. I know it's a shock to a lot of Jordan fans. I know it's a shocker, but David Stern had a lot of cops in his pocket to shield Michael Jordan from a lot of scrutiny, so a lot of stuff. Jordan was betting on games, which is why Jordan, even in a blowout, Jordan would go back to the game to make sure that he protect his average. And Jordan fans today who are brainwashed, who are losers, and I think all Jordan fans are losers, right? Jordan fans are able to say, they talk about stat pad. If you want to talk about stat pad, look at your idol. But yeah, anyway, so you look at Karl Malone. Karl Malone was 22, going on 23 years old. He was having sexual relation with a girl. The girl was 12 and turned 13. At 13, she got pregnant. So he was sleeping with the girl since she was 12 years old. He was 23 years old. So you telling me a 23-year-old man sleeping, having sexual relation with a 12-year-old, didn't go to jail? Because David Stern, who was paying the cops to look away, David Stern paid that little girl family money. The NBA gave, David Stern and the NBA gave that little girl $6.3 million to stay quiet. You know what I mean? So, a lot of that stuff, man, it's crazy. But for years, Karl Malone never claimed that little boy. Never. The boy tried his best to reach out to his dad. Karl Malone did everything he could to not even acknowledge that boy, because he didn't want the shame. He didn't want anything to do with the boy after the NBA paid the family, that little girl family, the money. He didn't want to claim him, because that's something that he didn't want to do that. But finally he admit that's his son. It's a shame. It's a shame. But anyway, But what I'm saying is, back then, Karl Malone was 230, 236. Dennis Rodman was 215. Biggest player. LeBron right now, LeBron was 280 on a good day. Shaq, at one point, Shaq was 400 pounds. Shaquille O'Neal was 400 pounds. We have guards today that are 230, 236, 240. So the games is a lot different. So the low tops guys are wearing, it can't keep up. You expose your Achilles. Any little wrong move you made. That's why you see today in the NBA today, so many guys, Tatum, so many guys, Dame Lillard, so many guys tear their Achilles. But unfortunately for Tyrese Halliburton, according to sources close to, I'm not gonna say close to him. I'm not gonna say that because I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I know. Listen, Tyrese Halliburton. I'm not gonna say I know for a fact. I won't say that, but I know. Pretend I'm in the room, man. When I come on this channel, whenever I come on this channel, sports talk, man. This is sports talk with me, Ricardo, man. Whenever I come, yeah. And by the way, I appreciate you guys, man. I'm almost 400, almost 4,000 subscribers. You know, for a guy who's sometimes, you know, because I am nervous when I, you know, even though I'm recording this thing, I don't watch myself. I record it and I just upload. All right, I don't edit. I keep it raw. I give you the raw and uncut me. Right? No matter what's going on, I give it to you the way it is. And sometimes I speak too fast because I'm nervous. Sometimes I mumble because I'm nervous. But it's okay. But I appreciate you regardless. You know, you say, hey, I'm going to give this guy some subscription. So almost 4,000 of you guys have subscribed to the channel. And I'm hoping that more of you guys subscribe. YouTube, man, you know, hook it up. 200,000 of you guys have viewed my channel, which is a lot, man. I appreciate it. You know, 6,000 of you guys have liked the channel. 6,000 of you guys have you know, comment on the channel. So that's a lot to get the likes, to get the views, to get this the comments, you know, all the stuff. And you got 6,000 of you guys have shared my channel to others, man. So I appreciate the love. You know, we don't do clickbait on this channel. I could have many times, but I make sure what I report on this channel is all factual because I want you to come back. I want you to come back to know, hey, this is where I'm coming in to break the news, where I'm coming in to get the real from Rical, man. You know, Rical gonna tell the truth, and that's what I've been doing ever since I started this channel. You know, and so it's pretty good, man. Hey, I know sometimes it's difficult with my schedule. Timing is crazy. I'm running around. Look at right now. I'm at my son's football practice, and I'm in my car. Many times I'm driving to my office, and I'm talking to you in the car. You know, so I started, you know, being in my office at home, you know, to chat with you. I've chat with you in my backyard. You know what I mean, on my land. I've done that so many places, but the safest place, the easiest place for me, the most convenient place, it's here. It's in my car, driving. You know, so I appreciate the love, man. I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate everything you've done. So which is great, but it's unfortunate again for Tyrese Halliburton, for 76ers, for Indiana Pacers fans to not have Tyrese Halliburton for the 2026 season. It's gonna be tough, man. And seeing right now, look at right now. We're in July. We are in July right now, and it's already starting to the G League. You know, the summer league is starting. You know, to see Bronny James out there already with Cooper Rush, the highest ticket sales for these two kids, man. You know, it's amazing, through the roof, man. But It's unfortunate for Tyrese Halburton, man, for 2025, 2026 season, 76, I keep saying 76. 76 is the reason I keep saying 76 is, by the way, you know what I mean, the owner, he just bought a huge, he just bought 100 acres of land in New Jersey, and and they're trying, the mayor, the governors or whatever, they're trying to bring the 76ers to New Jersey. and it's crazy. It's crazy. They're trying to bring the 76ers to New Jersey that's what I keep saying, 76ers, and not because I'm in PA, but it is something, man. But anyway, man, at the end of the day, I feel bad for Tyrese Halburton to have to go through that, to have to face this kind of stuff, man. It is tough. It is tough for him. The surgery went well the first time, but there was some complication where they're treating everything right now. But he, because again, it's too raw. They're letting it. They're trying to cure some stuff, but he's gonna have to go back under the knife. And Tyrese Halburton would not be playing for the 2025-2026 season. He's gonna be out the entire season. You're gonna see him 2026 to 2027 season. It's unfortunate, man. So but I'm telling these guys, man, those basketball players, stop. You wear your low top, I understand, but you need to go back to the high top, where that will protect your Achilles, that's gonna protect your ankles, all that stuff, man. It's not a pretty thing, man. George Gervin and Clyde Drexler, both of them went off on Michael Jordan, saying that the what measure. Clyde Drexler called Jordan fan delusional. He said, Clyde Drexler said he said Jordan fans are delusional, the same as Trump fans. He said they are delusional. He said for Jordan fans, he said, what criteria are you measuring the GOAT status? You're saying Jordan's the GOAT, the greatest of all time. What criteria are you using for a player who's not ranked on any major category? When you are the greatest of all time, you are the best. Now, Jordan was a great player. Selfish, right? Selfish, but Jordan was a great player. But the championship he won not because of him, right? Because he won the championship not because of Jordan. They won the championship because of the team and Phil Jackson. LeBron James took the Cavs to the finals because of LeBron James, not because of the Cavs. You know what I mean? So you got to look at the big difference, right? To see a team, to see something like that it's a big difference, right? So Chicago Bulls won, and they won as a team because of course you had Dennis Rodman, you had Paxson, you had B.J. Armstrong, who was a lockdown defender. You had you had Tony Kukoc, you had Scottie Pippen, all those guys, John Sally, Horace Grant, Harvey Grant, you know what I mean? All those guys coming in where the best rebounder in the game, the leading rebounder, in these finals were Dennis Rodman. Assist, defender, all that stuff was Scottie Pippen. Points was just Jordan. That's it. Where because he took the most shot, but you look at Paxson, if in terms of winning, he did that. But so when you say this is the best, and that's why I said those fans are delusional, my cousin included, man. You gotta be a delusional. You got because the thing is, I don't like, there's a lot of things I'm not gonna say, but anyway. Looking at Clyde Drexler saying, what criteria are you measuring Jordan in as the best? He was great. He was a great player back then. Evolution, the game changed. The game changed, the game got better to where it is today, to where you can say, hey, watching the players, you say, hey, this is The same thing you watch football. Yes, things change in football. Speed always win. Speed, and you need technique, you need different things. But watching basketball, the players are not the same. The players are not the same. When you watch basketball, right? And when you watch Jordan back then, if we're playing back then, if you, who's watching right now, if you guarding me, once I pass you, the defender cannot leave his man to come in, so you got to stay with his man. So I'm one-on-one. Once I pass you, this is it. That's why Jordan was successful. Once he passed his man, that's it. Because the best player wasn't guarding Jordan. Scottie Pippen had the best player on the opposing team. Right? So if Scottie Pippen guarded the best player, Jordan had the third, because the team didn't have 2-3 best player on their team. They had one. They had one. And Scottie Pippen was the one that took that. Besides the Celtics and the Lakers, that's it. But when you look at it, right? When you say the best, tell me which great team that Jordan beat. Which one? He couldn't. 0-6 against the Celtics. Larry Bird owned him. Larry Bird was Jordan's daddy. That was his daddy. That was his, it's not what it be, but I might have said. But that was his. That was his. So he did everything he could to beat Larry Bird. He couldn't. Yes, Larry Bird was calling, hey, Black Jesus, of course. Sometimes sarcasm, I don't think people understand that. When you're beating somebody or when someone's no threat to you, you can give them all the compliment in the world. They're no threat to you. Jordan was no threat to Larry Bird. He couldn't beat him. Larry Bird was toying with him whenever he wanted. But Jordan fans make excuses for him. Isaiah Thomas was beating him. They make excuses for him. Magic Johnson was beating him. So it's like when you tell me the greatest player ever, to me, when you look at it, back then, of course, I look at Bill Russell. Bill Russell was one of the greatest player ever, and in terms of rim protector, in terms of defense. Then Lou Alcindor, you able to see players doing what they needed to do. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came back, was able to take that reign. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was not allowed to dunk. He had to develop a new move. An unstoppable skyhook, people can stop it. Bill Russell, all the winning he was doing as a player, as a coach, won 8 straight. He won 13 championships in 11 years. 11 championships in 13 years, I'm sorry. 11 championships in 13 years. As a player and as a coach, even when he's done that, even doing so, he had to go home. They would poop on his couch. They would poop on his couch, which was crazy. You know what I mean? So you gotta look at all of that. You gotta look at what the man has done and continue to do. And I think that when you look at the body of work, to me, LeBron James is the greatest player ever. People talking about longevity. Hey, don't you want to buy a car that can last you a long time? You want to get a refrigerator that can last you a long time. You know what I mean? So I look at all these things. I look at a guy who's been going strong for 23 years, about to be 23 years in the NBA. Not just playing regular minutes. I'm talking about solid player. You know what I mean? Solid player to be able to develop or to do all that stuff. And that's what I look at. A player that, you know what I mean? That's coming in time and time again to make sure he delivered. You know what I mean? So That's what I look at. A player that can come in to give you is number one in points. He's about to be the second in assists. He's out there in rebound, blocks. When you look at who's the leading scorer, who's number one in playoffs, he is number one in every category. And playoffs in the history of the NBA. In the history of the NBA, LeBron has won more playoffs games than all the team in the NBA combined. So when you look at all these things, man, it's ridiculous. Look at Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, I think he needs 1,500 points to pass Michael Jordan in points. So Jordan's about to be gone from the top 5 list. You know what I mean? It's easy for you for Jordan to average 30 points a game, right? It's easy to average 30 points a game when the league gives you 10 free throws a game. You give you 10 to 11 free throws a game. That's 22 points. The league just spotted you 22 free points. So if they tell you, you know what I mean, here's 22 free points, it's easy to do that. So if you don't average 30, you're a loser. You took 90% of the shots. Once you take 90% of the shot, the league gives you 22 free points with the free throws. You just need 8 points. You know what I mean? Jordan was a lousy shooter. Lousy shooter. But anyway, man, hey, I feel bad. And let me go back to Tyrese Halburton, man. You know what I mean? I feel bad for him. You know, right now the news is not what he wanted, but this is what it is, man. I know for the Pacers fans and for Indiana Pacers fans, you know what I mean, that's not what you wanted, but this is what it is, man. Tyrese Halburton would not be playing the 2025-2026 season, man. I feel bad for him. You know what I mean. Hey, anyway, man, sports talk. Like, subscribe, and shit, man. Peace out, man. I appreciate it.